What's good, YouTube? It's Jim from IAG Performance, and it's gonna be a great day, and I'm gonna tell you why. We are back working on the 500 horsepower eco-friendly STI. We're gonna get this thing in on a lift, check out the underneath, because I will tell you, when these things sit around for a while, some weird stuff can happen, so we definitely want to get this thing on a lift, make sure it's still something we want to work on and get involved in. But I'll tell you what, I'm all hopped up on Red Bull and a passion for performance Subarus, so let's pull this thing in, get the motor out of it, and get to work. Let's go! Come on, baby. Not today. Yes, sir. There we go. Can't see nothing out of this thing. No, I don't want to put my seatbelt on. I get it. Okay, so we got it in. That was pretty painless. So we're going to set the lift, get it up in the air, see if we still want to work on this thing. Let's go. Let's get under this thing and take a look. Already, just from driving it in and the initial, from outside to inside, I can definitely tell that there's gonna be a little bit of work we're gonna have to do. The wheel bearings seem like they have a problem, and I'll tell you what, that's pretty par for the course for these cars. Once they sit a while, the rear backing plates will kind of lock up a little bit, and that's just something we're gonna have to deal with any car that kind of sits for a while. We have a little bit of rust, a little surface rust on the U-frame. That's another thing that's extremely common with these cars, but all in all, the physical body seems like it's in pretty good shape. Once we get back to the rear here, I mean, we get a lot of rusty, crusty old rear diffs, and that's something that we'll probably clean up. Same thing with the rear knuckles and all that kind of stuff. But you know, if we're making 500 horsepower, we'll probably go through some of that stuff as just a safety precaution. But all in all, I'm extremely excited with how the car looks. I don't think it's unsafe. I think it's a car that I'm really gonna be interested in turning wrenches on and making this thing the best it can be. And I'll tell you what, less jabbing and more pulling this engine. Let's go. So one of the most common difficulties I hear from people when trying to remove the engine is how do you separate the bell housing of the transmission from the short block? I've seen, countless motors where the top of the engine or the top of the transmission is damn near destroyed from people either hammering a flathead screwdriver or a chisel down there trying to separate the two. So I'm gonna show you a quick tip on how to separate that bell housing from your short block without marring everything all up. The first thing you're gonna do is apply a little bit of penetrating lube onto the two centering dowels that are located into the back of the short block. Then with an air hammer, you're gonna press those dowels into the short block towards the front of the vehicle. Then you can grab a large pry bar and pry the bell housing away from the short block. And just like that, the bell housing's been separated from the short block without any visible scarring. Okay, now that we got the engine out onto the crane, I do want to go into a little bit more detail on what I actually mean by a green build or an eco-friendly build. So as you've seen, when we pulled some of these parts off here, we have some stuff that we're not going to be able to use, including like a 3-inch catless downpipe. That's a no-go. Also, these TGV housings, that's also a no-go. So of course we're going to be upgrading the turbo and doing some fueling options. So we're going to have to use things like maybe a stock downpipe. And if we just can't get the power numbers we're looking for, due to the car's age, we can use the Cobb downpipe with the Jesse Cat. On top of that, we have a product in development for our TGV housing that allows us to keep the stock tumble generator. Even better than that, we're going to be using all of the evap solenoids and sensors. That's about it for this episode. I'm going to go find an engine stand so I can put this on, so next time we can tear this bad boy down and see just what's wrong with this engine. So like always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe to be the first to know about exclusive content and cool builds just like this one, man. And I'll tell you what, you already know. We'll catch you on the next one.